Okay, hi guys, we're back. I'm laughing because my husband is filming me and it's just like, I mean, he doesn't care where the apron is or, you know, it's just, this is not a guy thing they worry about. And I look down and I'm like, wow, that's really off. Okay, so anyway, kind of funny. I want to just mention something more, one more thing about the vases and about putting stems in the vase. That your stem, you want to make sure, obviously, that it goes into where it's going to get water. So that's really why we're doing that grid. So one of the reasons is that so that the stems will go as far down to the bottom as possible. You don't want to put little itty bitty pieces in there that are just going to sit on top and not get any water. So it's really important that your stems, because you know flowers will drink, you know, 2 to 3 inches of water a day, depending on how big your container is. And so it's really important that all of your stems are as far down to the bottom of the vase as possible. So keep that in mind, okay? And then my husband had a great idea. He said, hey, let's say just, you know, before you throw out those vases that you don't like, you know, you can always take a, you can always use it as your wine filler. Ta-da! Okay, so just a side note there, you know, there may be a side reason to keep a vase that you can't use. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we're going to go over to the second secret about designing. Okay, so hopefully you're staying true to your keeping to the florist code. Okay, so now we're going to use all of our fun containers where you don't see the water, but they have a really wide mouth. So I'm not going to put tape on it. How am I going to keep the flowers in place? We are going to use Floral foam. Oasis is a brand, and it's one of the more popular brands. This is actually sand, and it's been condensed, and they put it in a brick. And so once you float this in water, it soaks up all this water, and it holds the water. So it also gives you a grid to work off. Isn't that so cool? And it holds water. Okay, so now before this says, you think, oh, this is watertight because it has plastic already in it. Don't trust it. Do not trust it. I'm telling you right now. Always make sure. And of course, I've learned this from, you know, going into people's homes, and there you are, you know, your container's leaking, and you're really upset. Okay, so I'm cutting this foil, and this foil is awesome. It's like wax foil, double-sided, and it's not easily poked. So don't use your kitchen foil. Okay, so we're going to put that on the bottom, and you can see I'm covering it, I'm like going over the lip of the container, because if we didn't do that, if we didn't go over the lip, and on this side, and I just went down to here, then potentially you could pour water in here and it would go down into the plastic. So you definitely want to start, and don't worry about it, it won't shut once we get our flowers in. So you want to go over the lip of the container, and then you want to put your block of Oasis in there. And preferably you want your block of Oasis at the same level or a little bit below your container. The only way I'd go up high is if I knew I was making this massive, gigantic piece, and I needed, you know, just a lot of foam. But for most everyday arrangements, you want it to either be below or just right at. And then if you need to, like right now, it's not very secure, but it actually is kind of secure. A lot of times you put it in, you're like, that's not very secure. So you can take little pieces and you can cut those into wedges, and it just feels so good. It's so much fun, and you can just kind of jam those in, and that's going to give you. I could almost do the Dairy Queen Blizzard, where I turn it upside down. Remember when they used to hand that to you upside down when you go through the drive-thru? The Blizzard, they had to hand it to you upside down. Did you know that? I love that. That was the coolest thing. I saw the commercial. I'm like, let's go to Dairy Queen. I want to see them do it. So wouldn't that be fun? We can hand arrangements to people upside down. Okay, so you want to, so now I've got some little wedges in there, so it's really secure. Same thing, like if I was doing this container, then I would take this piece of Oasis, and see, maybe it's a little bit too big, because it's good to wedge it. There's a fine line between wedging and between overstuffing, because when I squeeze this Oasis, You see all that water that's coming out? So now it can't hold water. So that when you squeeze it and you get all that water out, you no longer have something that can hold water for your flowers. So you can squeeze it a little bit. It's kind of like, you know, your favorite pair of jeans. Like, have you gained that extra 10 pounds and you really shouldn't be squeezing into them? Okay, well, or I'm talking about myself, actually. I've got something like that. I'm like, really, should I? Okay, so if you're going to that question in your mind, you probably shouldn't. It's not going far enough down. I'm not going to sit there and like start pounding on it. I'm actually going to take my knife and I'm going to cut off the corners, and then I'm going to drop it in. And see, it's still a little snug. Just a little bit, just a little snug. And that's what I want. So I want just a little bit of snugness. I can take a few pieces of the wedging, put that in there. Now, it's kind of nice to have some empty space here and there, so you don't want it completely full of Oasis. Reason being, you want to be able to fill it with water as well. So I'm going to make sure I can put water in this, and so that it just gives it even more water. So as the flowers drink, I'm not having to refill it like every day or every half day. You know, I can just fill it once a day instead of every half day. Okay, so I really wanted to tell you about that. And same thing with these containers. That Oasis can just fit snugly in here, but again, I would put the floral foam first, or the whatever this is, the foil first. Okay, well now we are all set to start arranging. Bye.